it good to be back?
What are you doing?
Talking to you. What are you doing?
Dancing.
You're trying to make a hero out of me.
You need to tell your family what's going on with you.
Yeah, I became involved in it. I was on an airplane reading John Polano's screenplay. John had adapted the book that Jeff had written, and I was just really struck with the fact that, you know, the perception that I had about to open a script with a specific concept, it wasn't that. It was a beautiful love story, a great character piece, an inspiring story of a character, Jeff, played by Jake, going through hardship and how that affects his relationships, his romantic relationship with Aaron, played by Tatiana, his mother, played by Miranda, and the world around him and how that starts to spin. And so I was really just drawn into this human story that had both hardship and humor, and the kind of beautiful reality, rawness, and authenticity of these characters.
I had no idea that it was going to get this far, but it did, and we're here, so it's super exciting. But after the book was written, it kind of died down a little bit, and then I got a call from John Polano and Todd Lieberman and David Hoberman, and they were just really into it. They're like, "We want to make this movie," and I laughed, and I was like, "Okay." It's like, right on. And so I went out and pitched it to all different studios and told my story and with John Polano, and it was really cool to see the reactions that we were getting at every studio. And then Lionsgate picked it up, and it kind of moved forward from there. And here we are now. So it's really cool to see the process, and just working with wonderful people and got to meet some really great people.
Because I think we made a very small, intimate story about a very big subject, which is really ultimately love, and how love gets you through those extraordinarily narrow passages that seem impossible to move through into a place that, you're talking biblically, a little bit into a promised land of some kind. And I think that's what this story is about in such a beautiful human way. And so that to me was not like all of the big movies out there, or the try at like focusing, for instance, on just the bombing or the situation around that. It was about the people who are survivors, and the people who learn to survive and who do survive and who become even better human beings as a result of this sort of inexplicable, unfathomable event.
And I like Jake. I mean, I in the midst of all this darkness, there is humor, great humor, and the dysfunction. Which of us can't say we live with dysfunction at some point, with our family and all that. So I think that's honest and real, and just make these people as human as possible. They have flaws, and we all do.
We're meeting Erin, who I play in the film. She was so generous with her story and with her perspective and her energy and time, and really welcomed me into her world, and then I think what was so amazing about her is that we just connected as people as well, outside of the story and outside of playing her in the film. What I loved about the script and what John pulled out so beautifully was just this very relatable dynamic between her and Jeff. This complex territory that they navigate every single moment of their lives, before the incident and then after, and it's sort of obviously brought to this boiling point because of what's happened. Everything's more heightened, everything's more painful, more full of love. It's all bigger, but ultimately it is these small moments that happen between people that connect them and that save them and heal them.
It was a really tough reaction for me to see it and to relive it. Really tough. That was a tough 3 years, 2.5 years for me, going through all that recovery, dealing with kind of the spotlight, dealing with writing the book, dealing with the relationship with a person that I really love, and I couldn't even kind of love myself. And to see these wonderful, great people, actors, actresses, and how talented they are, and to see it, and it made me cry. It was just so hard. It made Erin cry. It made my family cry, my mother cry, and it was hard, but they did a phenomenal job a really phenomenal job, and I think that's because, like Tatiana said, we kind of all connected, and they just got it. And I think that was probably, really smart people casting, and really, the people behind the scenes producing it, and they planned it. They had people in mind and great talent in mind who they wanted to play each character, and I thought it was great. It really, I didn't think it was going to make me cry. I was like going in, I was like, yeah, it's probably just going to be funny and not that serious, and it really got me to a point where I couldn't even do stuff for a week. I was just kind of like surrounded by it, and brought me back through that, dragged me right through that 3 years of a relationship with the woman I love the most, and just really, really hard, but it turned out well, and I'm proud, really proud to say it's my story.